Alrighty, folks, welcome to another episode of Shut Up,
Keep going.
a podcast where we explore our
Internet curiosities.
curiosities. Cute. I'm Sydnee Goodman. I guess the last episode we did, we forgot to say our names. I'm Sydnee Goodman.
I'm Kate Franklin. They can find it in the description.
You can find it in the description.
I imagine someone listening to it, they're like, who is speaking to me?
Okay, no, so I started listening to a new podcast, and I will say sometimes but I don't know, do podcasts not usually introduce themselves? But these people, they don't use their names when they talk to each other. They just call each other by like their initials, and it gets really confusing, and I hate it. And I'm just like, tell me what your name is. Who are you?
Yeah. Come on.
That is what it is.
It's always so disturbing when you listen to a podcast a lot and then you see what the person looks like.
Yes.
It's such a unique experience.
It really is. Well, isn't that why there's the saying, like, you have a face for radio?
Yeah, someone told me that. That listened to this. I'm like, you're not wrong. That's why I'm not like posting myself publicly all the time.
Oh my gosh. No, but I agree. I think when you hear, the same thing goes for like music. A little bit less so though, because for some reason I feel like when people are singing, I get a better sense of like, oh, they probably look like this. But for some weird podcasts though, definitely you look them up and you're like, oh. Not what I expected. I don't think I've ever been correct in guessing what people look like if I didn't already know what they look like before listening to the podcast.
Yeah. The voice, man.
Okay, so let's get into it.
Okay.
I don't know how long or short this topic will be, but I like just really went in on it. So I saw something about did you know that we're running out of sand, Kate? Oh wait, I need to change the Twitch name. We're running out of sand. Did you know?
What does that mean?
It means, sand, like on the beaches and stuff. Mm-hmm. We're running out, and it's an issue.
Are you gonna get into it?
I'm gonna get into it.
Okay, because I'm like.
But you seem like, wait, this is interesting though. So like, you're confused about what it means. Are you surprised? Like, do you have any urgency of like if I said we're running out of water, what would your reaction be?
Oh God. But also, here's to show you how much of a Californian I am. I'm like, we're not supposed to live here at all. Like, I'm just so used to like it being like, okay, don't ever use water. If there's a tree in your backyard, you might have a wildfire. It's just like a very extreme place to live. So that's why if to explain my reaction where I'm like, oh, I'm sure we are.
That checks out. You're like, yeah.
I'm sure we are at this point.
So sand is one of the world's most consumed raw materials after water.
Holy shit.
Yeah, okay. I did not know that.
Like beach sand is what you're talking about.
We are running out. Not necessarily beach. So we're going to get into a few things, which is like where does sand come from, what it's used for, and then we'll talk about the shortage just to give some context. Okay. So where does sand come from? It's mostly made of silica, which is a common element on Earth. Based on my reading, I couldn't really understand it, but it seems like sand is primarily where we get silica from. And it can come from other minerals like quartz, which I think quartz breaks down into silica, if I'm not mistaken, limestone or gypsum, and sand is decomposed rocks, organic byproducts. Well, there's different types of sand, right? There's organic byproducts produced, like one type of sand. Parrotfish poop produces another type of sand. And then that had me get into parrotfish. So let's pull that up. If you guys are listening on, if you're not watching this, we do have an image guide up on YouTube, for you to check out. Wait, what? Image guide up on Instagram for you to check out. Shut up, keep going, all one word. So this is the parrotfish, and their poop creates sand. They can live up to 40 years old.
Oh my God, look at his teeth.
I know. They grow up to 4 feet long and 100 pounds.
Holy shit.
And they use their little head bump to bump their heads against competitors, which I mean, obviously that I wouldn't want to actually see that. That seems really like difficult to watch, but I like to imagine them just being like
Wait, how
bumping each
big are
other.
they? Are they huge?
4 feet long, 100
Okay,
pounds.
I think this is just because I love the movie Big Fish so much, but I have this really specific, like, I guess you would call it fetish, but I'm very hesitant to use that word.
Fetish?
But
Do you get sexually aroused by?
no, it's just like it's like a, I don't know what it is. I just would, in Big Fish when he hugs the fish to get his ring out,
Mhm.
I want to do that to a fish so bad. I think because they're like a big ass fish.
Wait,
I want
it's
to
a
hug a fish.
fishish. Like fetish, but
Fishish.
fish.
It's a fish. It's my
It's a
fishish,
fish.
which is I want to just hug a fish all the way around. Not
Just
like a
like
small fish. That's easily
like
done.
a big boy, like
Yeah.
a whale-sized fish.
Mm-hmm. No, like something probably that size where you can really,
Oh, you can
because
just,
I
it's
I love
girthy.
hugging dogs. Like you ever just hug a lab and
I
you're like,
hug
ugh.
my cats all the time. I actually feel bad because I like really like squeezing their butts, like the backside of them. All especially Simba because he's meaty, and
Yeah.
so he'll be right next. And he kind of lets me. I think because I let him like mess with me quite a bit. Like he'll just kind of like mess with my head, like bite me and mess with my hair. He lets me return the favor, and so he'll be right next to me. And sometimes, okay, so there's this word in Tagalog, and I say it hesitantly because I found out that my Filipino family makes up a lot of words, apparently. Found that out the hard way. And so I don't know if it's actual Filipino slang or it's just my family, but it's called kakagiggle. And it's when something, it's like cute aggression.
Oh my God. I'm writing this down because I've thought about this so much since you first told me.
Yeah, so kakagiggle, and like it's so kakagiggle. Like I will just go up to my cats and just be like, "Arr!" Like I just like I have to like bite my lip, and I'm just like, "Arr!" Like I just want to like want them to explode, but not. And like
I know.
I'll like walk up to Simba and I'll just like grab the back of him, and I always do it, softly, but I'll pet him a little bit more aggressively than I usually pet him. And he just has this nice like meaty area on the back of him that's just so satisfying. You just be like, ah! I do that to Alex too. He gets so mad. He'll be sitting there and I'll just grab his arm and be like, ah! And he'll be like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. I love when Ernie's sitting and you just hug him from the base. It's so
It's
cute.
so good. You just, ooh. But anyway, so Kate wants to hug a parrotfish. I'm glad that
I
we
really
can help
do.
identify which fish is your target. And who knows, maybe you're lucky and he'll poop out some sand onto you. So
Oh.
he excretes white sand at the rate of several 100 pounds a year.
Jeez. How?
And they scrape algae off rocks and dead coral with their beaks, and then the material grinds up in their guts, and then they shit it out.
Are they the only fish that does this? Or is there
The only one that kept getting, I looked at several articles, and this was the only one that was being talked about. So I guess.
Good for them.
But like the
honestly.
white sand beaches of Hawaii, for example, come from parrotfish poop.
So you're just walking in shit.
Yeah. But also, isn't there
Wow.
something? So this is like somewhat of a depressing topic because it's like, hey, our Earth is further getting destroyed in ways that we didn't even think about. But I have to say, it made me really like romantic about sand
Totally.
because, like, I don't know, there's something just really beautiful to think about the fact that there's this fish that scrapes algae off of rocks and like cleans up the dead coral, and then because of it doing that, we have like these beautiful white beaches that we get to enjoy. Like there's just something about it that it's just really like I could like start like it really makes me just like kind of, it's like breathtaking just to think about how like the synergy of like the environment and the ecosystem,
We're all
like,
atoms, man.
yeah, like it's really beautiful. And
Wait,
speaking,
atoms and atom? Is that a thing? Is that why they sound so similar?
that's actually, I don't know.
Okay.
That's a good question. Maybe we could do a topic on that.
I'll give you that for later.
No, so okay, this is sand being poetic. And this just like shaped, this was where I got really into it. So basically what happened was I saw something about a global sand shortage. I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is like an issue, isn't it? And then it kept kind of just popping up. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll see if there's enough on that to do a topic. And I saw this quote and I was like, we have to save the sand.
That's your new mission.
Is environmentalist Rachel Carson wrote, quote, in every curving beach, in every grain of sand, there is a story of the earth.
Oh,
Which I just love. So sand forms when rocks break down from weathering and eroding over thousands and millions of years. And so when you think about it that way, or it, you know, being parrotfish poop, like it's just, there's something really like, I don't know. I just feel like I take sand for granted. Like you're like walking down the beach and you're like, oh, there's sand in my shoes. But it's like, this came from like, where did this rock come from? Like this is like a part of a rock that had this like journey to becoming this.
When I was little and you know how there's like little gold flecks in the sand?
Yeah.
I was like, why doesn't people collect all the gold flecks and then they get gold? But I'm realizing that is not efficient.
Also, can I just say, I'm looking at this parrotfish picture again, and I don't know if you noticed, there's like a little yellow fish on the very, like if you look at the right side.
Yeah.
I thought that was its penis. And I'm just
I did too. And I clocked that, I have to say.
And now I'm just realizing it's actually a fish. But anyways, so sand forms when rocks break down. We've established this. And basically rocks slowly travel down rivers and streams, and they're constantly breaking down along the way. And because, you know, if you've gone in like a river or stream, there's sand on the bottom, which is wild. Like, come on, like how that's nuts. So the rocks get taken away by the water and then start decaying a little bit, and then there's sand there. Like it just wasn't always there. Like that just like really amps me up.
Let's just say if you take a certain hallucinogenic drug and go on a beach, you're like, these are all rocks. It really makes you think about that.
It's funny because I was at a party and this guy was super high on mushrooms and we were talking about this and he was like, wait, are you high too? And I was like, no. He's like, oh my God. He's like, I think your brain would melt if you, and I was like, yeah probably.
I also think so.
I don't need any help going there.
Yeah, your brain already is on that level.
But yeah, so the rocks are just doing the Lord's work. Like I just get so hyped about it. Like how many times have you seen a rock and just feel like, oh, it's a rock, but it like is contributing so much.
I know.
What? Oh, so cool. Okay, so tan, if you think of, now we're talking about kind of like different colored sand, right? So the tan color comes from iron oxide, which tints quartz a light brown, and feldspar, which is brown to tan in its original form. And so again, if you're thinking that it's brown and tan in its original form and it's getting broken down, it makes sense that some of its parts are also brown to tan. And then black sand, as you probably can guess, comes from eroded volcanic material like lava, basalt rocks, and other dark colored rocks and minerals.
Yeah, I have a really like traumatic memory of being on a black sand beach in Maui.
Yeah.
Because I was told black sand, it's just black rocks, which I think was one of the things where I was like, oh yeah, sand is just rocks. It's like black pebbles. And it's like kind of creepy looking. And we went at dusk. So it was like getting dark and the waves were huge. And my dad was like, girls, get in the ocean and enjoy the black sand. And so we went in and I remember the waves were so big that I was like getting tossed around and I heard the rocks kind of like pummeling on each other and like getting sloshed around. And it was so creepy sounding. It felt like this primal, like hellish sound of the earth like moving around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very,
wow,
very
what a formative memory. That's so
I know.
Funny. And it was the rocks just...
It was just the rocks, man.
Just the rocks, man. So it's also a byproduct of living things. So Bermuda's pink beaches are a result from the decay of a single-celled shelled organism called foraminifera, which I actually have a picture of. Again, you can see these pictures over on our image guide. And so it's one of these. It's not all of them. It's one of them. I couldn't tell you which one was which, but it breaks down into pink beaches.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, dude, Sandman. So
Sandman.
Cool. Sandman. And then like what do you call this sand? Some people call this like eye sand. Like the eye boogers that you get? Like you know how your eyes are like sandy?
Isn't that Sandman?
Is that Sandman?
The Sandman's supposed to get your sand from your eyes.
Wait, so he drops it off for you or does he take it from you?
I'm unclear.
Is he friendly or foe?
Childhood. I think I'm not sure.
Like is he scary? He doesn't. It's not like the like tooth fairy that leaves you money.
I think he's scary, if I recall. Are you looking it up?
I'm looking it up. The comics just keep popping up. Okay, it's a traditional character. Is a mythical character in European folklore who puts people to sleep and encourages and inspires beautiful dreams by sprinkling magical sand onto their eyes. Oh, that's actually really sweet.
Good. It's good.
When they said who puts people to sleep, made me sound like it sounded like he was like putting them in a compromising position so that he could like steal their soul or something.
There's that song, Mr. Sandman.
Bring me your dreams.
Bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I'll ever see. Okay, we're not singing.
So are they trying? Are they trying? Is that song about like trying to ask the Sandman to give them a good dream about a cutie?
Yeah, give him a wet dream.
Give him a wet dream. No, there's a different character for that.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's Timothy Chalamet. America's Wet Dream.
Oh my gosh. He does look like Timothy Chalamet does look like he would be like a traditional English folklore character that would like creep around.
I think that's what his
aesthetic.
He looks like a piece of art history.
No, he totally does.
Yeah.
Like really.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody needs to make some folklore specifically written for Mr. Chalamet. Okay, so yeah, we actually made up things. I don't know if it's real or not. We call it muta. It's like the shit in your eyes. And then tenga is when you have like shit in your teeth.
Oh, this is Filipino.
Yeah, this is
slang. Okay. I was like, who is making this up?
So Alex and I all be like, oh, you have some muta. Like,
oh, that's cute. Yeah. That's a good way to be discreet about it.
Yeah. Except I guess if you're Filipino and you also use the same slang, then they're like, ew, you like disgusting. There was one time we were waiting outside of CPK, California Pizza Kitchen, and my mom we were just like sitting there, you know, Friday night, it's like crowded or whatever, and so we're sitting there and this woman comes out and she's like walking funny, like she's like kind of hunched over, but I don't think we thought anything of it because she was older, and so we thought maybe whatever. And my mom's like, oh my god, this woman, and I guess she was talking in Tagalog, and she was like, I have to pee so bad I can't even stand up straight, like I can't, this is the most I can stand up, and she was like having a panic attack about having to pee so bad
in there.
But the bathrooms were not up to her standard. That's my formative memory.
Okay.
Was my mom translating.
That explains.
Okay, so we're back to sand. So we established where sand comes from, and that we have a shortage. What is it used for? What is making us run out so quickly? Glass.
Sandcastles. Oh, yeah.
And everybody's just making so many sandcastles that really we all need to just like starve ourselves of life's pleasure of sandcastles, like, and move on.
I've been saying this for years.
It's really pathetic, actually. I mean, sandcastles, what are they even? Like, it's just such a self, like, flagellating.
A castle for crabs.
I actually really love crabs. They're so cute. Like,
they're
the
so
little.
Cute.
So cute. So yeah, it's used for glass. Industrial grade sand containing silica is used for glass. And then that really just made my brain break because I was like, oh my God, glass is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like at first I think my brain was like, oh, glass, like drink. But like glass is like windows, computer screens, TV screens, phone screens, car windows, like sorry, now my brain's like thinking of all the places that I see glass.
Wait, can I ask a clarifying question? So are you talking specifically about beach sand, or like where does beach sand end
Sand
and
period
dirt begins?
So dirt is like, I think of dirt as like you know, like composting, like it's like dirt and has kind of that,
it's like plant material.
Yes, where sand is like rock.
Okay.
Or
yeah, because you can't plant a tree in sand, but you can plant it in dirt.
Yes.
That checks out, right?
That checks out, I think.
Wait, that just made so much sense to me in such a clear way.
Okay, I'm glad.
Because if dirt is made out of like biological matter, then of course it can support plant life. But sand is just rocks.
Yeah. Dude, yes.
Wow.
I see where you went with that. That's good. Nutrients versus stone is what chat says.
Great.
That's good. Nice and succinct.
That's real good. Let's
so
run with that.
Ground up silica is used to make fiberglass insulation, specialty glass like test tubes, fluorescent lights. I already said this, but TV screens, computer monitors. Like sand is literally so versatile. We should make sand and water like face off.
I mean, like this thing, yeah.
Like rock paper. Oh yeah, like rock paper scissors. Like should be like sand water.
Wait, is that a Marvel thing? Can they do that? That's what they can do, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Versus the sand. Is there a sand guy?
There is a comic called Sandman. I've never read it, so I don't know.
Oh no, I actually think. Okay, so I watched Eternals recently.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into it, but one of the characters, I turned it off, but it seems like her power is of sand.
Oh yeah, and somebody said the Spider-Man villain is sand. That's right. I can't remember his name. So they've already tapped into it.
Okay. They're on it.
They're on it. Commercial uses for sand comes from quarries, which, in case you didn't know what a quarry, oh, that's not you. In case you didn't know what a quarry looks like, it's supposed to be right here.
It's the void.
It's the void, I guess. I don't really know. Oh, I know why. There it is. This is a quarry, which is nuts because like if you look at the scale of that, like the little yellow things are giant tractors.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's a sand quarry?
Well, they're mining I think they are mining like rocks to turn into sand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're making fucking sand.
I think we are.
Wow.
I guess we are. Sand manufacturing, I guess. I don't know. That's a really good question that I don't have the answer to.
Do you know about sand recycling? Like, can you like smash up an iPhone and make it back into sand?
So I will get to that.
Okay, we'll get there.
But yeah, so these are the quarries, which I thought were really funny. Have you ever played Minecraft? Do you know anything about Minecraft?
No.
Because like obviously we mine things, but I guess I'm very ignorant as to what that looks like. So in Minecraft, I'm not going to try and explain, but for people listening who have played Minecraft, the quarries literally look like Minecraft mines, and it's a place where rocks, sand, and minerals are extracted from the surface of the earth. And this is a type of mine, or the mines that they use, called an open pit mine. But see, that goes back to like, so the rocks, and it's like we're just taking from the earth. Like the earth is here and we're just like, hey, we're going to use this. Like, I'm not returning it.
Because I need to check Instagram. That's why.
Yeah. Instagram needs me. I need a screen. What would happen if there was no glass here? Like on your phone? Like if they took the glass out?
It'd be incomprehensible.
Like what would it be?
That's true. I don't actually know because they're obviously the screen isn't just glass, right?
Like in my brain, it's like we could just take the glass off and it wouldn't be shiny. And that's like the only difference. But I don't think it's that simple. So yeah, this is a quarry. Sand is also used in agriculture, landscape, and building materials like concrete, which has been mentioned a lot in chat as kind of the primary way that we are using up the sand and why it's going so quickly. It's used in aquariums, creating artificial reefs, man-made beaches. Sand helps in flood zones, aka sandbags. Ever heard of them? Slippery roads use sand. Manufacturers use sand to cast parts, etching, sandblasting. Silicon, computer chips, baby. Sand is the future. It's the present and it's the past.
Wow.
I'm telling you, it's poetic.
Are you a sand activist now?
I'm a sandivist now. Yeah, save the sand.
I love that for you.
Yeah, so sand is used for computer chips, and people in chat are saying that the solution here is Neuralinks because there'd be no need for the glass, which I guess honestly maybe you're right. Maybe that's how we save the sand. And then tile manufacturing companies have mixed sand and lime together to make a special brick to use as building materials. And silica-rich sand is exported to major cement manufacturers. So if you didn't get it already, sand's basically like really, really important for modern society. Like it's quite literally the building blocks of society in many ways. And I think that most people are like, sand is infinite. Like there's so much of it, but there's not. So it is the world's most important but least appreciated commodities. I think it is safe to say that. Pascal Peduzzi, there's no way that's his name. I feel like it looks like a very beautiful thing, and there's no way that you're supposed to just say Peduzzi. He's the director of UNEP, which is the UN's environment program, a global resource information database in Geneva, Switzerland. And he says, quote, "We just think that sand is everywhere. We never thought we would run out of sand, but it is starting in some places. It is about anticipating what can happen in the next decade or so, because if we don't look forward, if we don't anticipate, we will have massive problems about sand supply, but also about land planning." Currently, it's not possible to accurately monitor global sand use, but Peduzzi says that it can be measured indirectly because of the correlation between the use of sand and cement.
Okay.
How much cement do you think we use every year? Just like guess, like in like tons.
1 trillion tons.
Oh my God, Kate, that's too much. 4.1 billion tons.
Okay. I always guess too high because I don't want to seem like I'm an idiot.
That's like I got a pair of shoes. I got these vintage Saint Laurent shoes. Dude, okay, guess how much?
I want to guess. $200.
$30.
Wow. Where?
The Real. Oh my gosh, sponsor me, baby.
Love the Real.
I am obsessed with the Real. It's just I have so much fun shopping on there. But yeah, I got those shoes. It's nuts. But I told Alex, I was like, guess how much I got these shoes for? And he was like $10. And I was like, okay, well now it makes the $30 seem like a lot.
Why did they not look expensive?
No, I told him they were Saint Laurent, but I think he knew that since I was so excited that he was like,
okay,
she got a good deal.
He's like, those look like shit.
I wouldn't pay more than $7. But so the UN estimates that 4.1 billion tons of cement is produced every year, driven primarily by China, which constitutes 58% of today's sand-fueled construction boom. The global use of sand and gravel has been found to be 10 times higher than cement, which means for construction alone, the world consumes 40 to 50 billion tons of sand annually. That's so much sand.
Wow, that's too much sand.
Billion tons. How many is billion tons? 50 billion tons that's in pounds. Oh my God. It's too many. It's too many. Okay, so 1 ton is 2,200 pounds roughly. So
that's
even
okay. In my defense, that's why I said trillions, because I ignored the pounds and went straight to, or I ignored the tons and went straight to pounds.
basically it's like too many. It's too much. There's no reason we should be using that much.
I see.
Um, so yeah, we use a lot of sand, basically. Global use of sand has tripled over the last 20 years as a result of urbanization, which exceeds the natural rate at which sand is replenished. Because yeah, obviously sand, like, I mean, most resources, pretty much all resources are finite resources, but I think we think of sand because it's like, it is constantly replenishing, but it's like at a much slower rate. Like it takes like thousands, if not millions of years for sand. Maybe that's not correct. It does take like hundreds to thousands. Let's say a lot of time. It takes a lot of time for a rock to break down into sand. I would be curious though, like what if they have that number. I didn't see it in my research, but if they have that number of like, if we take this rock, like this entire rock will be sand, and like how long and how much sand do we get out of it?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, they got the numbers on those somewhere.
Right? Somebody has it. So
I do want to highlight one thing,
Mhm.
which is someone asked how heavy is that in cats, which I feel like
it's a good, I owe the people. Okay, wait, where was how heavy is the average house cat?
Can I guess like 10 pounds?
Yeah.
9 pounds?
Based on Purina, I feel like is propaganda. I do not. Pep MD. Wait, this picture. Oh my gosh. Wait, what are we looking at? Where is it? 1 second, everybody. I really want to show everyone who's watching this picture.
It's your icons.
There
I see.
it is. There.
Oh. Ernie, your type.
There's the big boy.
Wow.
So it says, this is about cat obesity. The ideal weight for an average cat is 10 pounds.
Okay.
So if we divide, oh goodness. So
just some algebra here.
Let's say 10 divided by 2,200 is, so a cat is 0.004545 tons. And so if we multiply that by 50, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, that's 50 million. 1, 2, it doesn't go any higher. By 500 million, we're looking at 2.3 million cats for 500 million. It's a lot of cats. It's probably like more cats than has ever been on the planet.
Wow.
To be honest.
Wow, you guys. That's really an endemic.
It's an issue. Thank you. I'm glad that we did that.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the other thing that I found really interesting is the fact that not all sand is useful. And I saw chat kind of going off on this, but not all sand is useful. They're right. All we have to do is add zeros. So 500 million. So what did I say? How many? 2.3 million cats. 22.7 million, 222.7 million cats.
That's
so we use the same. So we use about, how much did I say? 227.3 million cats worth of sand annually.
Wow.
Those
numbers are staggering. If you're not reading those numbers, then
you're not listening.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I was saying is not all sand is useful. I thought that was really interesting. Because my thing was like, well, why don't they just like obviously I'm not advocating for breaking down the desert, but I feel like the desert has a lot of sand. There's like not very many people living there. Like they're big mountains of sand. Just take that sand. Not useful. Bad sand. Because desert sand grades are eroded by wind instead of water, which is too smooth and round to be used in construction.
Really interesting.
Right?
Okay.
I also just thought, I mean, to get back to like romanticizing the earth, I just thought that was so fascinating that it's just like desert sand is eroded by wind, not water. And then, like, obviously the particles look different because of the different styles of erosion. But
Okay, not to throw a wrench in this, but isn't Joshua Tree the way it is because it was once a giant body of water and that's why it's eroded like that? Or is it eroded because of
maybe
wind? I don't know.
that's a
Okay.
good question. I don't know. I didn't know that.
That's why Joshua Tree is fun to go to because it's literally huge ass rocks and then they just get smaller and smaller and smaller until it's sand. And so you think about the process of sand becoming rocks a lot.
I see it. I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's not to say all desert sand isn't useful. I guess if it's desert sand that has through the years it used to be water, and so I'm sure there's sand in there that is helpful.
See.
But
like the Grand Canyon, as this person said.
Yes, like the Grand Canyon.
The Grand Canyon. I feel like
people love that. They'll love
what
that.
they're coming for next, people.
It's your Grand Canyon, so you better ease up on that sand usage.
Yeah,
it also just kind of stressed me out, though. I don't know if you get this, but I feel like especially with plastic or just like any waste that I have, like humans are so wasteful, and I feel like I am so conscious and like aware of how much trash I have. But it's like at a certain point, I also feel like there's only so much I can do.
Yeah.
Without devoting my entire life to like having no waste. But it really stresses me out.
I agree.
Like, it's just very, and then now I'm like, oh my gosh, but the glass. It's a lot. Sorry. I don't know why I'm doing this right now. I'm applying lotion on my face.
I forgot to tell you. You specifically asked me to do that. And
I did it earlier. It's just feeling really dry right now. I got a chemical peel. Have you ever done that? It's nuts.
No.
So I got a chemical peel and your entire face peels off. Like my entire face peeled off. It was nuts. Is
that good?
It's supposed to be. It helps with like I have a lot of like under the skin acne that was happening, and my lady said that like a lot of it is just caked in there, sort of a thing. Like it's been there for a long time, so you need to like, it's like a big exfoliation, so you exfoliate everything and then it can come out. So yeah, I got my first chemical peel. It was gnarly though, dude. Like it's like the first couple of days nothing happens, and then on the third day, like my entire face was starting from like the center of my face like outward was just like I would talk and like pieces of my skin would fall. It was so gross.
Oh my god.
It was so gnarly.
Out that day?
Well, so my thing though was the lady was telling me, and she was like, yeah, so like starting like day 3 to 5 or like you're probably not going to want to see anybody. You probably run errands if you want, because you know people are masked, so like it'll be easier to hide. You just like wear a mask and sunglasses and like a hat, but like, you know, you're probably not going to want to do anything. And for me, I was like, oh well, I have no shame, like whatever, like it's fine, it can't be that bad. And then it happened and I was like,
so you're just face flecks are getting everywhere.
Yes. That was the part that I didn't think about, was that the face flecks would be everywhere. Like that's so gross.
Can I tell you about such a specific fear I have?
Yes.
Truly shows how neurotic I am. Is I am so scared that like one of my hairs or my skin or some type of my DNA is going, because you don't know what you're shedding DNA-wise, is gonna end up on in a crime scene, and then I am going to be falsely accused of the crime. Anyone else?
I do have a fear of like ending up in jail by accident.
Well, because the other day, this is weird, but I was brushing my hair in the car, and like my comb had like so much hair on it that I like pulled it out, and I just like, it's hair, so I like threw it out the window. That's not littering, it's like biodegradable, right?
Dude, what if it hits somebody in the face, like a pedestrian's just like walking, and then all of a sudden like it's like
on the freeway, and I was like, wait, that was like a ton of hair, like a ton of evidence, and I was like, what if that like gets, what is that,
to the wrong place, like carried by the wind?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, it's not outside of the realm of possibility. I don't know if this is
peeled for your DNA shedding.
No, it's true. I mean, that's like the last episode we were talking about how we had some stuff stolen and then like recovered it, but they recovered additional things, and it was like this guy had like a cart that he was putting all of the stuff on. And Alex and I both were like really careful. We didn't want to touch anything we didn't need to touch, because we were like, if they like take this in for like a crime scene, like I don't want my DNA, like my fingerprints all over it.
Well, I just wrote that down because I'm going to do that as a topic. That's a good topic to look
What?
into.
Oh, if that's the accusation stuff?
If that happens.
I'm sure. I feel like it,
does.
Unfortunately, I'm sure it's happened.
Yeah, probably a lot. I just kind of want to look into that.
Especially because I feel like, not to get too off topic, but like having gone through our legal system when like we had to testify in court and and like the whole thing was so cut, should have in my head would have been so cut and dry. Like it's like, this is the law, and like the law was broken, and so you're going to be found guilty. Like that's just what it is. But I feel like our legal system is so messed up, and it's such a crapshoot, and like it's all about just like no, I just thought it would be like, here's the facts, and now we're going to make we're going to use those facts to do whatever. But it's so tainted and like spinning things and like it's, I could totally see they're like, oh, this random person who had nothing to do with it, but like their hair was found there. Like, let's use them as a scapegoat.
Yeah. Shit.
Sorry if I'm freaking you out.
No, it's I really want to go on a huge tangent, but I'm really trying to keep it in.
Oh no, wait, sorry. I unplugged my headphone for a second.
No, you're good.
You're good.
No, one of Caleb's really good friends is at UCLA Law School, and before going there, he ran a bail fund that like basically was a charity to like help bail people out. So you're literally not kept in prison for 2 years while you're waiting for your trial, which is crazy.
Sorry, go ahead, keep going.
Anyways, and he was just like, I was just talking about the legal system with him, and he was like, it's very, very depressing. He's like, every day I like go into law school, I have to take like a deep grounding breath. And I'm like, oh, Brett, you're doing the Lord's work.
Oh, Brett. Brett sounds like he'd be a nice lawyer.
You would love him. He's very sweet.
Brett. Speaking of throwing things out their window, that brought up another like central memory for me, which is we would always have bananas on our way to school, or like as a snack. Like we just like, or we were going to practice, like sport practice or something, like eat a banana. So like we were always eating bananas, and I remember like I would finish the banana and then be like, what do I do with this? My dad would always say, just throw it out the window, it's biodegradable. And I don't know if that's bad or not. Is it? Because it's like true, it is biodegradable, but like,
you know, so many clown cars are getting into accidents because they're running over your banana and getting into crashes.
The only rule was you had to toss it on a center divider or like toss it up to the side so that animals wouldn't try to eat it in the middle of the road.
Oh, that's true. That's so true. Okay, well, that's considerate. I'm not sure. I still feel really nervous about telling people I dropped a huge chunk of my hair out onto the freeway.
I mean,
I'm not sure the ethics of that.
I've always felt a little bit bad throwing the banana. I don't do it anymore. It was just growing up. Because my parents they were the parents that had like trash cans in their car. And they were always like, you're not putting a banana peel in that. It's going to smell like shit. Yeah. It's like, okay, well then why are you having me eat so many bananas? You're the one buying the groceries.
Yeah, it's like, I'm a little kid. Caleb had this really cogent idea the other day where he was like, when you're a kid, you're literally just a hostage for your parents. Like, you can't make any decisions for yourself.
Yeah, kind of. Well, in line with that, it was like my parents loved bananas. I hardly eat bananas as an adult now. Well, that's not true, sort of, but definitely not. I swear I was eating like 3 bananas a day. Like bananas were the solution to everything. And in like 4th grade, I think it was, I started rebelling against bananas. Like I just had enough. And so my mom would give me a banana and then I'd just like forget about it. And so it would end up on the bottom of my backpack. But I didn't
Yeah.
really think about the fact that when you're putting things in your backpack, it's smashing the bananas.
Yeah.
Dude, I had like a month's worth of bananas at the bottom of my backpack. Like my backpack was like dripping. Like because and like every time I take something out of my bag, it would smell like shit because it was covered in rotten banana juice. I was so embarrassed, dude. And then the worst part was it was like when my mom was mad that I ruined my backpack. My parents were mad that I hadn't been eating my bananas. I'm sure they were embarrassed that their child was like the like gross banana girl at school. And then I did all of this damage to the textbooks because they were covered in bananas. So they had to pay back the school for the textbooks.
Oh my God. I feel like I have so many memories in childhood of like being forced to eat a banana. And there's like something about it where like if you don't want to eat it and you're like forced to eat it, you're just like
it's horrible. But bananas are great if you want a banana. But if you don't want a banana, then it's like an issue. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I haven't thought about that in such a long time. It's funny how many things like how many little situations you get caught, maybe it's just me though, get caught up in as a kid because you didn't just want to say anything. Like, so you're like,
1000%,
I'll just deal with this.
That's my entire childhood. And I still have that. I still have such, but do you know what that is? Actually, I mean, I think you know this, but it's a symptom of ADHD, which is like avoidance.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew like avoidance was, but I didn't know. I guess I just had never thought about that as being avoidant, but obviously it's way avoidant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nuts. Yeah, I remember. This is the last one I'll tell, but I was in second grade and kind of same thing. Like my parents, they got really into for breakfast. They would give us this like marble cake. Why are you giving us cake for breakfast? But it was like, you know, like how people have like a lemon, like the lemon loaf for breakfast. It was like that, but it was marble and I didn't like it. But like it was kind of one of those things where it's like, well, you have to eat it. Like you have to take it. Like, I don't care if you eat it or not, but you need to take, like, I'm giving it to you and this is your food. And so I would just like drop it on my way walking to my classroom. Like I would just like get out of the car and be like, gonna eat it. And then I just like throw it on the ground. And one time I was running late and I ran into the classroom. Oh my gosh, I'm like starting to sweat thinking about this. I ran into the classroom and I dropped it, but I almost forgot to drop it. And so I dropped it like as I was walking into the door, but it was like in the doorway, and so like it was getting smashed and like brought into the classroom, and like the door was like smashing it. Like I distinctly have this visual memory of like the teacher closing the door and the door wouldn't shut all the way because this stupid cake was preventing it from shutting all the way. And she was like, whose cake is this? Why is it on the ground? And I was just like, and I didn't say anything, but then I kept bringing the cake, and so I think she knew.
Yeah, I feel like my life is full of memories of that. Me doing something like that, and then it just snowballing so hard and like being like, I don't know. I think I've told this story in the podcast of in high school, I used to put all my coffee mugs in my locker. It was like the only purpose for it, and so it would always spill, and like I had cream in them. And then I stopped using my locker completely like 6 months before we graduated. And so there's just like disgusting coffee like filled all in my locker. And when we had to go clean out the lockers at the end of high school, this cute little kid was like, it smells like vomit in these lockers.
Wait, who said it? I want to know.
James Francois. I know, like the cutest, like I felt, he was like, yeah, it smelled really bad like for the last month. I don't know, like someone has something in their locker. And I opened it and it was just like a waft.
Did you at least wait until like after hours or like when there was less people, or did you do it with like the full hallway?
Literally, Sydnee, this is how used to being in these situations I was. I like when he said that and I was like, oh my God, I can't remember my combination. And so I walked away because I was like, it's definitely me. I just know.
Oh my gosh. Ew.
It's my least favorite quality is like being like I avoid the shit out of stuff. I really hate it.
It's funny because I think I've gotten really good at like confronting certain types of things, but then other things I'm like very avoidant by. And it happens when it's just like when it's so subconscious and I can't even like I'm not even processing that I'm avoiding it. Like I have to make a phone call this week that I'm just like really not looking forward to making, and I feel like every excuse in the book has come up in my brain as to why I should not call them. Okay, well that was nice. So back to the sand. We were talking about how desert sand isn't usable, but the bell of the ball sand is more angular, so it can lock together, and it's typically sourced and extracted from seabeds, coastlines, quarries, and rivers. So to answer your question, like where we're getting it. Louis Gallagher, who is the environmental governance lead at UNEP and GRID, which is Geneva's Global Sand Observatory Initiative, said the issues around sand are a complex problem to solve. It seems like the trickle down of industries that use sand or rely on the mining for income, for example, like banning river sand extraction, would affect the communities that are built around it. It sounds kind of like mining towns, but think like they're, small villages in like India. I mean, I don't know if it's village level, but there are these communities that are really relying on sand as a huge export. And so it's tough to just say like there's big consequences to just saying like, stop the sand. And this I found really interesting, and I don't know, maybe I'll go more into it in another episode, but there are sand mafias, which makes sense.
Oh, you have
right
to.
Which makes sense if it's like such a valuable resource and there's like money to be made. Obviously there's exploitation and whatnot happening as well. And so these sand mafias are groups that are comprised of builders, dealers, and businessmen that are known to operate in Cambodia, Vietnam, Kenya, and Sierra Leone. And what they do is they'll illegally dredge up riverbeds. I got this from National Geographic. It was like a journalist it was kind of written like a journal entry. So this is what it is. Quote, "Our plastic tables quakes from," oh, that was a bad quote. That was wrong verb tense. That was my bad, not their fault. Let's start over. Okay, so quote, "Our plastic table quakes from the passage of heavy trucks. What do these columns of vehicles carry? A torrent of mined sand, the dredged up riverbeds of the Sindh," is that how you say that? Sindh, Sindh, river, "and its tributaries, in destitute," oh my gosh, I should have read this before I tried reading it out loud. It's the dredged up riverbeds of the Sindh River and its tributaries in destitute Madhya Pradesh state. Every truckload is bound for distant construction sites. Much of the cargo is illegal. Sand is a lucrative commodity in India. It fuels a black market that is both preyed on and protected by goons. Sand miners have killed law enforcement officers who have attempted to halt the strip mining of India's rivers. They have murdered reporters who have exposed the forbidden practice of excavating waterways. And that kind of gets into how sand mining hurts people. If you're stripping rivers of the sand, there's consequences to that, right? It causes water tables to drop and can change the course of rivers. So if there's a whole city that is built around the fact that there's a river here, a resource, a very important resource, and then the river's no longer going that way, that's an issue. It affects wildlife. Specifically in India, there's already historic water shortages. So like changing that is just like, why do that? So massive sand mining has also eroded river deltas across Asia, which has exposed coastal communities to severe land loss and worsening the effects of climate change, including sea level rises. The issue with this is that it sounds ridiculous that we're running out of sand because it is perceived as cheap and infinite. And so in terms of like how do we go from here and like what do we do about this, the level of awareness just isn't there, because I think people hear, oh, we're running out of sand, and it's like, fuck you, no we're not. Like, shut up, no way. But we totally are, so take it serious. Gallagher has identified 5 priorities for sand resource governance over the next 2 years, and the article that I was referencing was written in March 2021, so we're just about coming up on year 1. Cooperation on global standards across all sectors, cost-effective and viable alternatives to river and marine sand, updating environmental, social, and corporate governance's frameworks in the financial sector to include sand, bringing in ground-level voices, and setting regional, national, and global goals on sand use at the right scale. Somebody in chat mentioned this a little bit ago, but I feel like I get very overwhelmed by like climate change and obviously resource loss and just kind of the degradation.
You got it.
Degradation of our environment. And the exciting thing is that, you know, that's the whole thing about science, is it's problem solving.
Yeah.
And so there is opportunity to come up with another resource for us to deplete, or, you know what I mean? Like find an alternative that is more friendly to our environment. And a couple other positive notes is that Kieran Pereira, gosh, everybody's name's so hard to read, who's the researcher and founder of sandstories.org, says Zurich, for example, is building buildings with 98% recycled concrete. The city of Amsterdam has committed to becoming 100% circular by 2050, and they aim to have their natural resource use by 2030, which is coming up. So there was a wake-up call on global sand shortage in 2019 when it was recognized and placed on the political agenda as a result of a UN resolution. And two notes to leave on. One, Pascal Peduzzi, our friendly climate scientist,
good boy,
says, is it time for panicking? Well, that will certainly not help, but it is time to take a look and change our perception about sand. And then the final thing, which I don't have her TikTok recycle glass lady. There is this TikToker that turns recycled glass bottles from landfills into sand, which is really cool. And I think that kind of stuff, I like to sound like a crockety old person. Like, I think there's a lot of things about the younger generation that I'm like, oh my god, shut up. But wait, glass recycling. But this kind of stuff I think is awesome. Like, it was started by these two college students.
Oh, great.
And where is it based out of? In New Orleans. It was started by two college students. It's a drop-off glass recycling across New Orleans. And they recycle glass and convert it into sand to be used for disaster relief, coastal restoration, and more. Which I think is just so cool that somebody is like, oh, I identify this as being an issue. And then they're like doing things to like make it happen, which I think 100%. Is really cool.
Oh, I love that. Wait, so were you going to talk about like recycling iPhones, like for sand purposes, or?
No, that's the end of my story.
Okay.
No, but I mean, like, even that, when we were talking about earlier, like just having so much stuff, like tech, for example, moves so quickly. And I think the nature of my work, it requires me to upgrade as things upgrade, right? And it's like, what do I do with this now?
Yeah.
Like, I've had my old iPhone sitting on my desk for a while now, and I like am paralyzed. I don't know how to like properly recycle this. Yeah. Or that episode of How To with John Wilson, of like the recycling the batteries.
Yeah, I love that episode.
Like, it's stressful. I had to replace some batteries, and I was like,
or you could be like my mom, who has this bag, like an Apple bag, that's like literally like their like 2004 branding. So I think that's when she got it. And it says "Take to Apple" on a sticky note on it. And it's literally all of our old iPods. Like, I'm talking like first gen iPods. And like when I got the little nano video, it's like all in this thing. And she's like, we got to take them back because maybe they can fix them and we can still use them. And I was like, I don't think we still need to use them, Ellen.
Did you ever have a video iPod? Like just the regular video one, not the nano?
No, I didn't.
Oh, those are worth a lot of money.
Really? Do they still work? Or like they're worth a lot of money?
I don't know why. There's something about them. that you can sell them for a lot. I know because somebody stole one out of my car.
Oh wow. I should look. We might saw there's like literally just like a stack of iPod.
Yeah, I have my, speaking of hoarding, I have my iPod Nano.
Cutie.
It's
I've
a
missed
4
those things.
gig. 4
Wow.
gigs.
I remember
How?
I had the shuffle that was a little box.
People, there was like this trend on TikTok. I don't know if actual like real people did it, but they were using the shuffle as like hair clips.
That's so cute. Or
It was kind of cute.
I don't know. Is
Um,
that cute? I'd like it in theory.
so okay, wait. Sorry, last thing I want to leave us on is that
Okay.
I wanted to read the 6-step method to take glass bottles and turn them back into sand.
Okay.
So, one, collecting the glass. 2, transporting the glass into a processing facility. 3 is they sort the glass by color and separate any non-glass products like bottle caps, corks, metal tops. And the average recycling facility throws away about 60 to 90% of what they receive. So, this glass half full organization, their rate is less than 2, which means less in landfills. They grind, crush, pulverize, and tumble the glass into sand and glass collet mixture, and then they filter the labels and other non-sand particles out of the mixture, and then they allocate it properly. So I don't actually know if this sand is able to be used in construction per se, but I do think that it's something that, I don't know, I think that, it can be very overwhelming to, I'm like trying so hard to leave this on a positive note. It can be really overwhelming to be like, wow, I consume so much and there's so much trash. But something that I'm focusing on is like, one, doing as much as you can, right? Like, you're not going to be perfect and you shouldn't let perfection stop you from trying to reduce your impact. And the second thing is like, you can make simple changes that help with things like recycling, like taking the bottle tops off when you're recycling and putting that somewhere else, and like separate your recycling, separating your trash. Something that I've been trying to be more cognizant of is food waste. And so like when I'm cooking, I'll have a little bag on the side that I'm looking at getting like an actual tub for it, but like a little bag on the side for me to put all my food waste, and then I'll take it out to the garbage and like put it in like the food waste bin, or like organic waste, I think is what it's called. It's where they put like the trees and shit in there. And like stuff like that makes a difference. And so, that's one extra step for me that, I don't know, makes me feel better about it. And I feel like is like helping.
Yeah, totally.
Little goes a long way.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a collective effort.
Collective effort. But then also it's like Alex makes a good point. Alex is a little more of a realist than I am. But he's like, the issue isn't like on an individual level though, that it's actually on like a corporations and like lobbying and
yeah.
policy level.
But we need a good way to wrap up this podcast. So.
But we're not going to talk about that. Well, we will talk about it and pay attention to that, and you should.
Yeah, of course.
But, anyways, okay. That's sand. We're running out of sand, baby. So
enjoy it. Well, it's so funny. My sister is getting married in June on a white sand beach, and so I'm gonna tell her that she's stepping on fish shit the whole time.
Yeah, it's fish shit. That's what it is.
Very romantic stuff.
Maybe that's when you can hug your fish.
Oh, I'll just run into the water in the background of her ceremony and wrangle a fish.
Wrangle a fish.
I love that.
Lovely. Okay, y'all. Well, we will be back next week with another episode every Friday.
2 weeks from now.
Well, wait, I don't want to record. I don't want to confuse people listening to the audio.
Okay.
So don't forget, new episodes every Friday. That's on YouTube. That is on every podcast network that you can think of. And we have our image guides that also go up every Friday as well. That's Shut Up, Keep Going, all one word. If you wanted to watch the video version, the video podcast is up on our YouTube every week on Fridays. youtube.com/shutupkeepgoing. And if you want to watch us record this live, we do kind of passively read chat and, people make good points. And that's on twitch.tv/SydSoGood. And that's most Mondays around 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.